In this video, we discuss like this whole thing around should we brand ourselves and position ourselves as an SEO agency versus what we're doing now, which is a content agency. And one thing that I should mention, and we can link in show notes and on YouTube, our positioning article.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Conversation, we talk about at some point our homepage headline, but I want to just emphasize that's not just what positioning is. It's a lot more than that. What we don't discuss in there and what you guys don't see is there's this whole conversation and kind of sales pitch that happens in our sales conversations where we explain our process, we differentiate. Right now, we do that as a content marketing agency with respect to other content marketing agencies. But in this new one, that whole thing will have to change. I mean, not completely, but significantly to brand as an SEO agency. And so positioning then in articles and other places, it'll change. When we are introduced on podcasts, it'll change. And that has a larger effect. And if you do that everywhere, not just on your homepage headline, then there's stuff off of your site from other parties that changes your positioning. For example, at that point then, people will mention us in the conversation of SEO agencies, in list posts where they're listing SEO agencies, and that's when you know your positioning has changed. So I just want to mention that it's not just about the homepage headline.
Yeah, it's trying to craft the narrative about how you want people to perceive you. So what we're trying to do is take all of the value props that we have as a company and distill it down into a simple way to explain what we do and what our goal would be. And then changing our positioning and changing all these aspects of our site is to get people to change the way that they think about us. So right now they think about us as just a content marketing agency, and people might even think of us as a bottom of the funnel content marketing agency. In this conversation, we discuss, is that the way that we want to position ourselves going forward? Or do we want to position ourselves as people who generate rankings and content takes more of a back seat in the conversations, and the conversation turns more towards the SEO side of things and generating rankings for your highest value keywords?
Yep. Okay, so this is going to be a fun one. I want to start with the story that got you and I to talk about this positioning of Grow and Convert. And we're going to anonymize the client story, but I think it's actually, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like this actually has kind of come up before with multiple clients.
Yeah. I don't know if it's come up with multiple clients, but I think that we've just noticed what was happening a lot more in the last couple of months, just talking to different prospects and learning about what their current agencies are doing.
Yeah. So the story that happened to this client is we just started an engagement with a new client. Now, I'm going to say some obvious things to people that have been following Grow and Convert, but our engagement, we're a content marketing agency with that client. So we do 3 blog posts a month, but of course the results, again, very obvious if you've been following what we do, is not the blog post. The results, of course, is the results of Pain Point SEO. It's the rankings and the leads that we generate. So we're starting that. Like, everything's going great. And the client happens to mention, oh, I can show you, maybe I'm getting the details wrong, but something like, I can show you the keyword.
I can show you our keyword spreadsheet that the other agency created.
Yeah, or I think she said like the SEO agency created. We were like, wait, what? Like, what SEO agency? What are you talking about? She's like, yeah, so, and I think they're like actively engaged with that agency.
Yeah, they are actively engaged. Yep.
Yeah. And so we're like, oh, that's interesting. So she pulls up this keyword spreadsheet, and from my interpretation, and you can say whether yours was different, I didn't count. We don't have it, but I swear it's like hundreds of keywords are in there. Like just a bajillion keywords. Like every possible family of keywords, every possible keyword underneath each family, like hundreds. And so we're like, oh. So like my first reaction is, well, so if this is already in progress, what the hell are we doing?
What did you hire? Yeah, why'd you hire us?
And so we start asking questions. So like, what are you guys doing with these? Are you already attacking these keywords? Do you already have stuff going after it? And the client says basically, oh no, the SEO agency created these content briefs for each one, but they're not actually going to produce the posts or articles to rank.
No. I think there's more details that are important. So the SEO agency pitched re-architecting the entire website and adding all these pages to try to beef up the website to rank for all these different keywords. And then the approach that they took was, instead of doing research on what keywords that the company should go after by understanding the business, they just looked at all the competitors' websites, saw what pages those competitors had gone after, and then created this keyword map, or essentially, or like renewed site architecture based on the competitors' keywords.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because I completely forgot.
Yeah.
But you're right.
All good.
So, but let's zoom out. So there's these hundreds of keywords, or like a bajillion keywords, and our key thing was like, are you going after these? Like what actions are you taking to rank for these?
Well,
And
because it affects our own process. So after our kickoff meeting, now we have to go prioritize keywords. And so we want to make sure that there's no overlap in the keywords that we're going after and whatever the company is doing internally or any of the other agencies that they're working with.
Yeah, and so what we learn is basically the client isn't really taking any action on them. And it's not really their fault, because they've been told, like you said, by the SEO agency, is like, well, the way we're going to go after these is by what you said, re-architecting the site, adding a bajillion pages for it. Or what I remember her saying was, oh, they could like write the articles for each of these that they've created content briefs for. I'll talk about those briefs in a second. That's another issue. But it's going to like cost like, you know, a bajillion.
It was $2,000 a page.
What?
So yes. So basically,
How do I not remember this?
Because you're always bad at remembering this stuff. But yeah, so they created this whole Excel spreadsheet. It has all these keywords, and the deliverable was just basically next to each keyword there was a content brief, which is essentially just an outline of what they think that you should create to go after that keyword. But then they didn't even do the writing or any work to actually go after that keyword. So the deliverable that the client now has is this massive spreadsheet with like 100, 150 keywords with pages now that's put on the client to go create. And there's a small team. I think they only have one writer or marketer in-house besides her.
Who I don't think is a writer.
Yeah, but right. he does some writing. He's done some writing for them before. But yeah, so now they're left with trying to create these 100, 150 pages to go rank for all these different keywords. But if she wants the agency to write the articles or the pages, it's going to cost $2,000 per page to go after each of these 100 keywords. So you can do them out there. So that's out of the question. And then she's just like, well, it's going to take me forever to even just get one of these done. So now they spent all this money on this project, and they're kind of just at a standstill. Like, I guess she thought this was going to do something different, or this is what she was told that she had to do. And now after getting into the project, she's just like, this is way too much. And I feel like we're not going to get anything done.
Yeah. So this is the point where, let me zoom out now. And this is where it starts reminding me of these little things that other clients have said that's similar. Like, they engage these as... So actually, before I do that, let me cut to the chase.
I have a couple examples too. But
the thought that crossed our mind... We'll get to the examples, but just to get to the point, the thought that crossed our mind is, what the heck are you retaining this SEO agency for? Like, we can get better results than this. And then I was like, are we tying one of our hands behind our back, or like somehow hampering ourselves by the branding that Grow and Convert is a content marketing agency? And would we be better off? And would clients be better off if we were branded as an SEO agency that, of course, happens to focus on content? We'll get to that later, because that would have them avoid these engagements with other SEO agencies that I feel like, and this is the pattern to other things that I've heard from clients, keep doing this thing where they charge clients for what I'm going to call like the groundwork over and over again. But the actual main work of ranking for additional keywords that will bring in leads is not happening. It doesn't happen, or it takes forever, or it's done poorly. What do I mean by groundwork? It's like there's other SEO agencies that be like, oh, we're doing an SEO audit. Some companies are like, we're on our third SEO audit from some company. Like, if you're a B2B SaaS company, what does your marketing website look like? It has like 10 pages, features, solutions, case studies, pricing, and it's static largely. What the heck are you auditing? Like, what are you auditing over and over again? Like, what is changing? You're not Amazon.com. You're not HomeDepot.com. Like, what are you auditing? You know? And so, and they're just doing that over and over again.
Other conversations I've had too, companies are paying, let's say, 8 to 10 grand a month for on-site optimization. Again, and I think a lot of these agencies...
A month?
Yes.
Yeah, what are you doing in month 5?
They pitch on-site and technical optimization, and I think for most of the clients, they just don't know what that means. So they're like, oh, on-page optimization.
Yeah, sounds great. I want to get my page optimized.
Exactly, but then every month, the client just has no clue what's actually happening, and nothing's moving forward. And I've heard horror stories like this. I would say a lot over the last 3 months as we started talking to people, and we always ask the question in the sales call, what have you done in the past on SEO? And a lot of them will say that we hired some agency to do on-page optimization or technical audits or anything like that. And they haven't actually, the agency hasn't really helped them go after or rank for keywords, which is really interesting. So like, what is the point of them?
And I think the issue with that, well, so just to recap what we're saying like this whole thing of should we be branded an SEO agency? We're saying we're seeing an opportunity there that clients are, there's some weaknesses, and we'll get into those one by one, starting with this like obsession with like technical or on-site optimization, like the site cleanup activities. That's always prioritized number one, which we think is backwards. But from our perspective, just to complete that thought, why would we want to be branded as an SEO agency? Number one, I think clients think of an SEO agency to get the results that we're promising, because the real results that we do is you don't hire, grow, and convert for like words on your website, like for the blog posts, and you hire us for rankings for your most valuable keywords and the leads that come from it. Generate pipeline, right? People say that. And so that's what you hire. And I think in most marketers' minds, like in-house CMO types or whatever, heads of marketing, I think, based on observation, they associate that with an SEO agency's responsibility, not a because they think content can't get that. So it's always like this like thing where we have to convince them. Wait, we do that too. And a lot of them, even when they hire us, sometimes a lot of them are like, you know, blog, thought leadership, and we're like, what? Have you not worked with us for a while? Like, we're like ranking for your best keywords. Like, are you kidding me? Second kind of associated reason, and this is a little bit more guesswork on my side, but also based on evidence, is I then think they value that more. Like, they value the SEO agency or vendor more because in their mind, that's their responsibility, is like ranking for these important keywords. And the blog and content agency is sort of just like this kind of expendable marketing thing that you can't really tie ROI to. And you're like, yeah, we're creating blog posts also. And we're here constantly trying to like convince them, remind them, no, like our blog posts, yes, they come and they look and they smell like blog posts, but the effect, like the end effect is what you are thinking an SEO agency does, is they're ranking for your most valuable keywords and we're getting leads from it. And yeah, a lot of our clients buy into that. Of course, that's how we like have a business, but it still feels like an uphill battle. And this whole thing made us be like, what if we just call ourselves an SEO agency, since we're actually doing SEO? We just happen to be doing it primarily through blog posts. I wanted to back up and say those two things. Any comments?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I agree with everything you just said.
So then we pair that with the opportunity. So going back to what we were just talking about is like, then when we started looking at what these SEO agencies are doing, and we're like, not great. And so going back to what we're talking about, I think I don't know if this is number one, but like the first one we talk about is this obsession with this technical SEO. And here's my take on it, or like a zoomed out take. It's not that we're saying technical SEO, on-page optimization. What do we mean by that? Technical SEO, like we can list things. What is it like? First making sure the actual like page site structure is appropriate, that pages have like one H1 and whatever, that like,
What is one H1?
Well, sometimes there's pages that Naman has found where there's two H1s.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Like in a blog format.
I thought you were saying one H1 is like some lingo.
It's a technical SEO.
Yeah. I was like, actually, I've never heard that one before. Okay,
Yeah,
your
it
headers.
only has a single H1 title.
Yes.
Title tags are appropriate, blah, blah, blah. And then like what?
URL structure, duplicates. Duplicate pages. There 404 pages.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sometimes,
just like
as we've
the initial, the housekeeping.
Yeah, and as we've experienced with clients, sometimes is the entire site randomly no indexed all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So it's not that we're not saying that's important, but here's the argument. In our view, that should be done in the service of ranking for your most valuable keywords. Meaning, priority number one has to be knowing what the heck those most valuable keywords are, like actually having identified them and saying, we know what keywords we're targeting. If you don't have like a very well-defined target keyword list of like, not just like, here's the 400 keywords that we paid some keyword researcher to do, not that, but like, here's like 30 or something like that, 50 keywords that we have carefully deduced. If we rank for them, it will bring us business, because in our minds, those target keywords are like buying keywords, and you can mix into that keywords you want to own. If you don't have that, what are you on-site optimizing for?
Well, I think the importance here is to distinguish the difference between what those agencies are doing versus how we think about it. So in our mind, the technical SEO is done at the very beginning. So we do an audit for all of our clients that we work with. And the goal is just to find fixes that will help improve the site so that when we start producing pages or content, that we can rank faster. And there's nothing hindering our ability to rank. Whereas a lot of these other agencies are charging a recurring cost for technical SEO fixes that's like ongoing. Whereas, and we're saying the SEO audit can be done one time. You can identify all the things that need to be fixed. Then you fix them. And then you get working on starting to rank for the keywords that you want to go after. And the on-site optimization would only really matter also if you already have the pages on your site or the keywords that you're already targeting on your website, and you're maybe updating pages to then better match the intent of that page to the SERP. But then when we're getting into the details of what these companies are charging for on-site optimization, they're not even doing that. They're just like adding keywords to the page, or they're saying like, they're like sprinkling keywords throughout the page and calling that on-site optimization. They're not really looking at each page through the lens of what is the SERP telling us we need for this page, and then what content do we need to add? How are we going to weave in the product on this page to help sell it? Like, none of that's being done because a lot of the agencies don't even know enough about the business to be able to do that kind of deep thinking on it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like, so you were saying they do this technical SEO as some ongoing activity, and you and I are both baffled as to what the heck they keep doing in month 7 of most of these sites. I get if you have some site that has like a ton of pages.
Yeah, if you're a large e-commerce site, or you have like a marketplace or something like that, of course, technical SEO.
All the time.
Yeah, and you're changing your site all the time. I 100% get it in that case. But I feel like, me personally, and having been on the client side, a lot of these agencies are just taking advantage of the fact that most clients don't really have a lot of expertise in SEO. So they pitch these things that sound great in theory that really doesn't do anything in practice, and they're able to get a recurring fee from it. Yeah, and then you ask the client what's happening, and they just don't really know. They're like, oh yeah, this agency's doing this stuff. They send me a report every once in a while showing my rankings. And like, that's pretty much it. That's the extent that they know what's going on.
Yeah. And so then that's number one on the technical SEO. The second thing you kind of touched on, and that's what I was trying to say, which is the biggest thing for me, which is almost like a mental importance thing. It's not the chronology of when in time it happens. Like we also do technical SEO at that audit at the start of our engagements, but that's not what I mean. It's that mentally to us, it comes in secondary because the number one thing is like, what keywords are you trying to rank for? And if you have not, and then you also touched on this, which I'm going to get to now, and what page, do you have pages on your site dedicated and optimized, like content that actually has a shot at ranking for those keywords? If you haven't done that 1 and 2, then what the hell are you doing technical SEO for? And while we're at it, I'm going to throw in link building into that camp. For us also, link building is done in the service for the purpose of moving up those rankings when you've defined your keywords you want to rank for, and number 2, have content optimized with a shot at ranking for them. Otherwise, what are you building links for? And I think for this technical
that's
SEO,
another thing that was frustrating talking to different prospects is you find out they're spending like $10K a month on links. And you're like, well, what are you building links for? You don't even have pages on your site that are optimized to rank. So like, you're just building links for the sake of building links. And you ask the client, they're like, well, it helps my SEO. But you're like, it helps what?
SEO?
Yeah, like you don't have any pages on your site that are even going to rank for anything. So what are you building the links for? Yeah, so everything's just backwards.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is even more fundamental than having pages is they often don't even have a target keyword list that's beyond like 2 keywords. It'd be like, oh, we're an accounting firm or we're accounting software. So like we're trying to rank for accounting software. You're like, that's it? One keyword? Like that's your whole SEO? Like what else? You know? So, okay. So then number 2, that content. So assume you have the target keyword list or whatever. I think this other weakness that we've already touched on extensively, but there's this other aspect of it is like, even if you had the target keyword list, do you then have content, what I keep saying, with a shot at ranking for it? What do I mean? It means like in our minds, for the best buying keywords, the most valuable keywords, they're most valuable. They're going to be valuable to other people too, meaning other people are trying to rank for it. So you can't just like throw some keywords on a landing page and hope you're going to get to the top few spots. Side note, another key aspect is like ranking position 9. It doesn't get you that much from what we've seen from a lead generation perspective. Things spike when you're in the top 3 spots. So that's important. Like if the SEO agency is like, look, we increased your organic traffic and the overall rankings are up and your average position is 12. You're like, listen, 12 is not paying the bills. You need like 1, 2, and 3 in my mind. And in the evidence we've seen. So to get those, you need, it's not just like, you know, we threw some keywords onto your homepage or your feature or solution page because we're trying to get it to rank for like accounting software pricing or something like that. Like you need dedicated pieces where you carefully think through the search intent behind that one keyword. This one page, in our case a blog post, but it can be any page, is then dedicated to ranking for that piece. You've analyzed the SERP. You're trying to fulfill the search rankings. If you don't have that, what are you doing? What are you doing technical SEO for? What are you doing link building for? And that's not easy. And the second aspect of that is then for those buying keywords, those valuable keywords, you need to then frankly do product copywriting, which means in the post, you need to be able to sell the products and like deeply understand the product, sell the features and benefits, differentiate it to competition. Otherwise, you just have some Me Too thing that's not going to rank, and that's not easy. This step 2, the creating the content, is not easy. And so no wonder most SEO agencies don't have the ability to, the resources or whatever to do this easily. Even for us, training one person to get to that level to write consistently these kinds of like product copywriting articles that we do for clients is a huge, huge undertaking. And we spend a bunch of resources training one person. So that's my second point.
Yep.
Okay. No comments from Benji. We're doing well. So, and then I guess this is another point that is there. when we've seen SEO agencies pick these keywords, and this is something that we don't have to spend a long time on because like everything else we've ever said at Grow and Convert or written talks about this, they do the same complaint that we have had over content marketing agencies, which is they prioritize keywords by traffic. They're looking at like these broad...
They're just not looking at intent at all. The way that they even pick keywords is just backwards. Like even this example of this SEO agency, they looked at other competitors in the space and chose keywords based off their businesses and not the business that they were trying to do SEO for, which and then you ask the client and they're like, yeah, we're creating pages for services we don't even offer because the other competitor did it. And they said, well, if the competitor has a page, you should probably have a page on this too. It's like, what? It makes no sense. Like none of this makes any sense.
Yeah, you're right. And a lot of SEO agencies, that's key. And you know what? The SEO tools, God bless them, we use them. I hope we don't upset them by what I'm about to say. They sort of encourage this because they have like the competitor analysis tool or whatever. So you put your competitor's URL in there and be like, these are all the things they're ranking for. And everyone has that FOMO. And so you're like, well, look.
But to be fair, I would say those are helpful. And the way that you can use those is by looking at other competitors that you know offer a similar service or have a similar product. But you need to scan through those keywords and then identify the ones that are high intent for your own business and the ones that make sense. I feel like a lot of these people are just going through these lists and adding everything instead of you like curating down the list based on what your product does well.
Yeah, I asked on Twitter, and I haven't pulled this up, but I asked on Twitter, like, if you were hiring an SEO agency and you're in a SaaS company or something, I think I said B2B SaaS, what are you looking for them to do? I feel like every response eventually mentioned, like, and grow pipeline. Like, rank for stuff and grow pipeline, grow leads, get qualified leads, right? And I think what we're saying is when SEO agencies do, like, pick keywords and try to go after them, they're optimizing for the thing that you see SEO folks bragging about online all the time, which is that traffic growth graph. Look, we grew our clients' traffic from this number to that big number. But the traffic growth, as we've said a million times, is not analogous to leads. So that you can read any article on our site, and we've talked about this a bunch. And then,
all right, should we recap everything? So I think what we're saying is that we're currently positioned as a content marketing agency. We feel like that might be doing us a disservice because people think that we only produce content, but really the end goal or the results of our service are to generate rankings for your highest value keywords. And what we're saying is that a lot of these companies are hiring SEO agencies thinking that that's the end goal of those people's services. But when we dig into what those companies actually do, they're not helping really generate rankings. They're either building links to random parts of the site that don't make sense and they don't have pages optimized for the keywords they want to go after. They're doing this ongoing technical SEO work. They're doing this on-page optimization, which is still mysterious and most people don't even know what that means. And so we're saying, since our end goal for all of our client engagements is to help companies rank for their most valuable keywords, are we doing ourselves a disservice by not positioning ourselves as an SEO agency, since that's our end goal, and all these SEO agencies are able to get retainers that are our same rate or way higher, and they don't even help the clients with that end goal, in our opinion.
So if we were to position like that, here's my like kind of sales pitch for it, for discussion's sake, is we could say we are the SEO agency, like we're an SEO agency that will actually first prioritize getting leads from SEO, not just traffic. We know that resonates because that's been our positioning on the content agency side forever, and that's worked really well, and clients resonate with that. Then we say, and we will actually methodically, month by month, create pages on your site. And I think it's not important that they're blog posts, really. We can make that kind of like a detail. That's not the client's concern, because who cares? It could be a landing page. We don't care. We've done that before. But we'll create pages on the site that rank for these buying keywords that generate leads one by one. So we're not just going to waste a bunch of time doing some back-end technical SEO site stuff. We'll take care of that and make sure that's in order, but we're going to actually check off these keywords so that what you're buying from us then is rankings and keywords. And then they think of us like that. So that's our positioning there. Now I want to discuss or like present to you possible challenges from an like inside baseball operational standpoint on our side. Right now, as a content marketing agency, we are responsible only for our blog posts we produce and their results. So if developers release something that breaks something on the site, the homepage gets no index, just like crazy weird stuff that happens on the homepage or whatever, that's not our responsibility.
Yeah.
If we were their SEO agency, it would be. So that adds like operational burden or whatever to us. It's like what we're normally in our agency, what's nice is we have a repeatable process. We do this 3 blog posts, but now we're kind of have to also have this oversight role where it's like, hey, you guys are our SEO agency. Like this random ranking we used to have for the blah, blah, blah page got messed up by some internal employee, but like you're the SEO agency. Can you fix it? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's easy ways to solve for that. So I know we already have a tool that scans the site and can let us know of any errors. So I think it would just be, I think we only have it running on a couple sites, including our own. So I think it would just be expanding that tool to other sites. And I think it's just something that we have to check for on an ongoing basis. I don't think that that's a huge problem.
I agree. At first I was like, oh, I don't know if I want that, because it's something very nice about the fact, like operationally in our business, like all of our team, they know what's their responsibility, and it's the blog posts we produce, and we have a rhythm to it. And I was like, I don't know if we want to add that, but I had your reaction too. I was like, is that hard? Like, again,
No.
We're not saying we're going to reposition to be an SEO agency for those, for example, giant e-commerce sites or marketplaces with like 10,000 user-generated pages or like listing pages for different products or different whatever, and we're managing all that. There are SEO agencies that do that. That's more what people call programmatic SEO, right? Where you're not manually optimizing each page. You have to kind of do it in a programmatic way, right? So for a lot of our clients, which are like, have these static marketing sites, whether it's, like an IT service provider, a B2B SaaS company, some other whatever, it's not that much. So I'm okay with that. Here's the flip side positive of that though. Sometimes we, in our work, have been like, ooh, this keyword would be perfect. And then we're like, oh, this random landing page or something, or their homepage is ranking 5 or 6 or 7 for that keyword. We've just been like, well, that's not really our responsibility. Yeah, like can't, it doesn't make sense to write a blog post going after it. But like, also it's not part of our engagement to like optimize their homepage. Now it would be. And that's actually like really low hanging fruit where we'd be like, yeah, we know how to, we could almost definitely, if something's ranking 6 or 7, where it's like, you're kind of there, but you're not getting the bulk of the results, we could get it to top 3. And then all of a sudden, like, that's great for the client.
It's a huge win right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That is a positive.
And then the second, okay, so that's the operational kind of potential hiccup or challenge. The second challenge is a sales challenge. And I mentioned to you before we started recording, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Right now, because we've built a reputation over 5, 6, whatever years, I just like, we're like old enough, I don't really remember when we started. And of being like a content agency.
That's how long it's been.
Yeah, Benji hasn't shaved since the start of Grow and Convert, and that's how much has grown. But people come to us when they need like a content agency. Like people have just been following us for a while or whatever, including some like decent brand namey type clients, hopefully that will be closing soon. And so that may not happen. Like I just think there's, without being able to say too much of the inner workings of like conversations and whatever we're having, but is I can say to the audience, there are companies, people, clients that have followed us for a while. They know that we're a content agency. And for whatever reason, internal expertise, whatever, they don't have a need for an SEO agency. But they know that the like writing the blog post part that I talked about being hard, they know it's hard. They buy into it's hard. They know that product copywriting in the blog post is hard. And so when they need a content agency, they come to us now. So one of my fears is if we rebrand or reposition as an SEO agency, will we still get that business, or will people that quote unquote need content, even if they buy in that the content should have an SEO purpose, go to some other content agency and not us?
I'm not as worried about that because I feel like that's our history already. So we've already branded ourselves as people that do this. And so even if we switch towards more of an SEO focus, I feel like a lot of the people still know us to produce these articles. And I don't think it's really going to take away from that. I think on the SEO side, it would only help because I think people don't really view us as an SEO agency. And I think that might just be a function of our headline right now and just the way that we position ourselves. It's very much focused on blog and content, but I feel like maybe people who are following us in the first few years might only think of us to produce content and really might not realize how much we focus on generate rankings. And so I think that there's an opportunity to kind of bridge that gap. Like the way that I think about it is we generate rankings through content, and it can be content on your blog or it can be content on a page. But either way, no matter how you approach it, attacking whatever keyword in like a blog or a page, it's the same thing for us. We learn about the company, we learn about their value props, we're weaving in sales copy into either of these pages, and we're using these pages to go after a keyword, and the end result is rankings. And so again, I think that more aligns with the SEO side, or at least how people think about SEO, even more so than I think a lot of the agencies and the services they offer right now.
Yeah, just to read, I mean, I guess I could, for folks watching on YouTube, we can share the screen, but I'll read it out loud for folks listening on the podcast. Our homepage headline that Benji's referring to right now says, "Most blogs don't generate real business. We fix that." Side note, we're very proud of that. But right, and that's worked for us so far. But most blogs don't generate real business. We fix that. So that means we work on your blog. And
yeah, it's just super focused on the blog. It has nothing to do about generating rankings. And I think that might be doing us a disservice because there's nothing here that indicates we can help you rank for your most valuable keywords. We've done this consistently. We drive conversions that way. And so maybe someone comes to the website and they're like, I don't need help with my blog. But then if we said we help you generate rankings, they're like, oh, that actually appeals to me.
Yeah, and then the sub headline for folks listening then adds to that by saying we're a content marketing agency that drives conversions and qualified traffic for B2B and B2C businesses. Now, the counterpoint is, of course, and what we have going for us is our foundational process that a lot of people know us for is called pain point SEO, right? People say pain point SEO. So that's good. And this would expand on that. But what I was going to say is
I think the argument I would make against that, though, is that pain point SEO came up, 3 or 4 years ago, and the site hasn't changed to kind of map how much we've changed our own process and our own service. So I would say even when we came up with that headline, we were still conversion focused, but I don't think we leaned as heavily as we do now into the SEO side of things. And we haven't really changed the positioning to adjust for that. And I would say now the way that we think about content strategy is almost purely SEO focused. It's what keywords can we go after that will generate the most conversions for the company, and let's prioritize all of those first. And I think that positioning is still like a legacy of like the beginnings of our business, and it's not representative of our current work.
Yeah. If people are wondering and haven't followed us for a while, like, well, this all makes sense. So why the hell do you guys have a headline that says most blogs don't generate real business? Because we used to just produce content. We actually started with no SEO angle. We were like, that's not what we do. We would write these like stories and promote them. That's its whole story. But like, and we've written about it. You can find that on our blog, or if you comment on YouTube or wherever on our email list, we'll gladly send you those articles. But like, we used to just write all these stories and do this stuff for traffic. And as a million articles on our site have said, like slowly we found, when we rank for these buying terms, the clients get a bajillion more leads. Like it's like 300% more. than if we don't. So, okay, let me recap. I think my solution to this, though, is we keep the word content kind of in there. So
Yeah.
like the phrasing I have in my head right now is something like, we're a content focused SEO agency, or we're a content first SEO agency. I don't know which one or whether it matters. But then it has both. So if you need content, you can still go to Grow and Convert. And like you said, we have that legacy reputation there, which helps. But then it's like they're an SEO agency. So then they don't have to waste their budget on other SEO agencies that just do all this like planning, but nothing happens. And I think that's the part of the sales pitch on the SEO agency branding that gets me really excited, is that we can just say almost like, what has your SEO agency like done for you though? Like, what's the results? Because to me, it makes a lot of sense. And I had a tweet about this a couple weeks ago too, of like SEO in a tweet. It's like, know what keywords your customers are Googling when they're looking for a product like yours. Create pieces that directly fulfill that intent. And then link build if you need to, right? Or like make sure some people link to it. And so it's like, we can just say, if you're wasting your time doing all this like tech SEO background or just general link building to increase DR, but you don't know those terms that are going to bring you leads, you haven't like gotten consensus on that or even worked on that hard or thought about it like that. And then second, if you don't have content that's really, really made, like carefully made to rank for those terms, then what is your SEO agency doing for you? Like, that's how we think of it. And we go keyword by keyword. And we're like, here is your thing. And then we can sell by like rankings, which is the business result. You want 30 rankings a year? It's our base package. You want 60 rankings a year? Whatever. I don't know. I mean, now I'm kind of like pontificating. So that has me excited. Any other final thoughts?
No, I agree on the selling the value of the rankings. I think that's an advantage. Like if I think about how most people try to price or think about the value of content, they're thinking on a per article per month basis. Yeah, and it's frustrating because we don't care about any of that stuff. But if you change that to how much value is it to rank for 30 of your highest value keywords? So the keywords that you're already the keywords that you're already spending Google ads money on. If we could help you rank for those same keywords and own those organically, what would that be worth to your business? I think that's the difference in the positioning of the content marketing agency versus the SEO agency. That's the frame of mind which someone hires an SEO agency, and the frame of mind which someone hires a content marketing agency is, well, if I was to produce 3 articles a month in-house, how much would it cost? They're not even thinking about what do I get for that, or like what are the results this is going to drive me. They're like, yeah, well, this is so much. It's just 4 articles, so like I'm paying, I don't know, $1,000, $2,000 per article, but like I don't get what this is going to do for me. Whereas it's very clear when an SEO agency comes in and says, I'm going to help you rank for this one very high value keyword. Like a business would be like, yeah, I would pay like 50 grand to do that.
Yeah, that you're right. Now we can't close because now you're going to get me riled up again. And people are going to be like, oh, I love that part where Devesh ranted. Like, when you should be on all our Zoom calls because I rant a lot. What drives me crazy about what you said is that what I want to do is be like, okay, you can get it done cheaper, but is that article going to work? Like, I can get some rando to write an article for $20, but will it rank? And that's when we switch it to rankings, then they're not thinking, how much could I get that article for? They're thinking, I don't know how the hell to rank for 30 of our best buying intent keywords. That sounds like magic to them. Because they're like, I don't know how to rank for them. And then we're like, we'll get you those rankings. You're buying a business result. Because the article thing drives me crazy. They're like, well, in-house, we can produce these articles. I'm like, your in-house writers, I'm sorry, are not going to rank for them. Their article and our article for the same keyword are not equivalent. Like, ours will rank and ours will convert. And it's like, we spend so much time and effort optimizing our process and working tirelessly to train our team to be able to do that. That ability is not easy. Our best clients understand that, and they like get that and they respect that, and then that's what they pay for. But I agree with you absolutely that if we just flip it and just directly sell the end product, the ranking, then people would be like, oh yeah, I don't know how to rank for that. We're not ranking for it now. So clearly we haven't been able to do it.
I think that there's two things that we haven't really been selling in our business that would increase the perceived value. So one is that ranking aspect and just really positioning around generate rankings. The other is the product copywriting and sales copywriting, because businesses will spend thousands of dollars a month having someone come in and rewrite pages on their website to help try to sell the product and position the product well. And we already do that as part of our service anyway. So every page that we created is weaving the sales messaging into the page. And to do that, you have to have a really good understanding of the business, why people buy it, all those aspects. And so people will hire a product copywriter. They will hire an SEO agency. They'll hire a content marketing agency. And essentially what I'm saying is we can take the place of all three of those roles with one agency, because this is already the service that we offer. Yeah. We help you generate rankings. We do the product copywriting essentially in the form of blog posts, and we produce content. And so,
and I think of those three, what people value the least is the blog content writing. Right?
Yeah, I would
SEO,
agree.
What you said, SEO, you said product or like kind of
product
landing page
copywriting. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like blog copywriting easily is valued the least because people don't use the blog the way we use it. So they're like, that's not hard. It's just like this it's just like this most people think of the blog as this like filler top of the funnel nonsense. And so when we associate our brand with that, we have to do all this convincing work to be like, oh, but our blog post is not equivalent to the way you thought about the blog post. It actually gets all these results. It's equivalent to this. We're like, well, why are we doing that? Why don't we just brand ourselves as the thing that they already value, that we already do really well? Like, we already write product copy really well. We already do SEO really well. Like, just say we do that, and then they don't have to waste budget on nonsense, and then they like value us appropriately.
How many times
and we're all aligned.
I've been in a company where they've hired a copywriter to redo the entire website, and those projects are like $100,000, $200,000, and nothing ever gets done. Like, they get into the project, and
what do you mean?
They like, the agency comes in, they don't understand the nuances of the business. They start writing the pages. The company hates it. They're like, they pitch this whole like SEO optimization, technical audit. Like, it's just always done poorly. I don't know. I've never been in an agency where a company has done a website redesign or redoing pages through an agency vendor and like left being happy. But it's always too much work for the company to do on their own. It's like they don't like, yeah, it's a challenge.
I'll be honest though, like that part does operationally scare me. Like, because once
you're I don't want to get into that. But essentially, where I was going is, I think the product copywriting aspect is really challenging, and companies value that very highly. And it's something that we already do as part of the service. And so I think we just need to elevate that.
Horn,
yeah, we need to elevate that more. Yeah, we are.
I think we're pretty good at it. Sorry for talking over you. Like, but just evidence. We've had clients say in kickoff calls, the act of doing our kickoff calls and the discussion that ensues because of the questions we ask about who really is your best customer, what really is your differentiator, and we like poke in and in and in, and we're like, but this other competitor also does that. So that's not really a differentiator, right? Like, what really is your differentiator? And these like sometimes debates internally on the client side happen. They've told us, wow, this was actually really clarifying and eye-opening. Like, thank you guys. And that's just some like side part of our business. Like, they're not buying that. It just happens to be like how we start. Or I've had, I remember 2 interviews for blog posts with a particular like large enterprise B2B type software client where like product managers or folks that should have a really good grasp on the value of a particular feature or whatever explained it to us, and I was like, okay, hold on. And we were asking a bunch of questions. This is really complicated. And I said, let me just play this back to you. What you're saying is, and I gave like the value proposition that normally people do X, and the other options only let you do this other thing. But with you guys, they can do Y, and that has these benefits. Am I hearing you right? And I've literally heard them say, like, wow, yes, that's like, can you like write that down? Like, I haven't heard it. I have not articulated it like that or whatever. And I know that sounds very egotistical for me to say it is a true story.
It's because companies, like internally, you have this way of talking about yourself and your own product, and you try to complicate things because if you simplify it, you're like, oh, but that doesn't really speak to the breadth of what we do. So if you try to distill it down to one sentence and say, this is what we're best at, someone in the company will be like a salesperson, a marketing person, well, what about this feature? What about this thing? And all these other things that we do, this doesn't describe everything that we do. So then what happens is everyone tries to overcomplicate it. So they throw all these features and all these value props into this sentence, and it ends up being like, we're an AI SaaS product that does X, Y, Z, and that's why you should buy it. And you read it and you're just like, I don't even understand what this product does. And so I almost feel like it's better to explain everything about your product to a third party, and then the third party simplifies it for you. Because I do think even we get in the trap of like what we're talking about right now. It'd be like if we said, we're a content marketing agency that gets you rankings, tries to write product copy and all that kind of, and technical SEO and all this stuff, and that was our headline. It's like you try to overcomplicate it. But I think
that's a great point.
Yeah,
that's a great point. We and if you're listening and you're saying, well, didn't you guys literally say that? What Benji means is, yes, when you
now we have to. Well, I was just gonna say, when we go to write our headline messaging, if we decide to go this route and change it, we'll have to think of what is the correct message that distills everything that we do to just like one single value prop. Like what is the main thing that people care about, and use that instead of trying to overcomplicate things and bring everything that we've talked about into our messaging. Because at the end of the day, I think what we're saying is companies value rankings and they will pay for rankings, and that's really what we do. So maybe the language that we end up using has to really focus on that, as opposed to trying to weave the sales messaging, the content, and all this other stuff into it. And yeah, I think that's, if there's a takeaway when you're thinking about your own positioning or messaging on your website, I think that's kind of how I would think about it.
Yeah. The distilling is really important. But anyway, that was a big rabbit hole to say, where it started is that product copywriting piece is also something that I think a lot of marketers naturally get is difficult and they value. And all of this is like the thing they're valuing the least is blog content. And right now we've associated our brand with it. And we've done okay. We've done okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, to our credit, we've still grown a pretty good business. But I think now thinking about taking it to the next level and how do we really expand from here? Either expand in terms of pricing, expand in terms of the clients that we're able to attract, expand in terms of just pure number of clients. The question is just, do we need to change our positioning? And maybe we do this and end up watching this video again and we realize no. But I think it's something interesting to think about, just hearing these conversations and seeing what other people are doing. I think even in the very beginning of our agency, like how we came up with the current positioning is seeing what other content agencies were doing and realizing that they had no focus on results and all they cared about was output, whether it was number of words or just number of articles per month. And none of the strategic thinking was really brought into producing those pieces. And so when we created the current positioning, it was, let's create an agency that focuses on results and solves the problems that most of these companies care about, which is when they hire a content marketing agency, the end goal is not, can I just get 4 articles a month? They're like, I want to generate traffic and conversions from the articles that I'm producing. And I think what we're saying here now, if we look at the whole SEO landscape and look at the opportunity or the gap that you can potentially solve in the market, it is all these other agencies that position themselves as SEO are mainly focusing on just like basic things that we think are just kind of check boxes. So it's like
the
the technical
actions.
SEO. Yeah, the technical SEO audit. It is like the on-site optimization. Again, that can mean a lot of things to different people. But what we're saying is, and they're not able to generate a lot of good results from any of those two things. It's kind of just like the basic housekeeping stuff. And so we're saying, if we can position ourselves as the company that can help you get new rankings and or help improve existing rankings for pages that you already have on your site, and we can actually get those results for the agency, we think that that would better position ourselves for the future.
Yeah, it would differentiate us, and surprise, it actually is more useful for the client. Instead of wasting your money on SEO activities, like SEO busy work, it's like we start with the end result. Like, do you, side note, and
I was going to say outcomes versus outputs, like going back to our last video. It's the same concept. Like, people will hire these agencies just to show that they're doing SEO work.
Yeah.
Oh, this person's doing like 20, 30 hours of work. Here they gave me these Excel spreadsheets. Like, yeah, it looks like they're doing stuff. Oh, rankings are kind of moving, but it's like your end goal is to get your end goal is to get these certain keywords to rank. Is the SEO agency doing that? If not, you're not really hitting your goal. You're just showing that you're doing busy work. And so it kind of aligns with everything that we were saying the last time. Like, what we care about is getting that outcome, aligning the outcome with what the business wants.
Yeah. And by the way, we've used this, and you can use this, and we'll continue to use this with clients to disqualify clients that probably shouldn't use SEO as a channel. Because if you start with the outcomes and you say, thing number one, we need to see how many keywords are there that logically, looking at this, we all, us and the client, can agree will generate business. And for some businesses, it's like, there's 3. Like, it's some obscure thing that like most people aren't searching for. And you're like, there's literally like 3 to 5 keywords for you. You don't need to hire us. Like, just do this thing. Like, take our course, produce 5 pages, 1 for each of those keywords, and call it a day. Versus, I don't want to call other agencies dishonest or whatever, but like, if you're just there to like take any business that comes your way, a lot of these clients, like you said, they're not SEO experts. They don't know. So they just think like, well, like, I don't know, my friend has this business and SEO worked for him, so like, I got to do SEO. They'll be like, yeah, sure. We're going to start with the audit of your site. It's like they have a hammer and that's a nail. And so they're just like, well, this is what we do. And so like, we're going to audit your site. We're going to look at this thing, and look, traffic is growing up. And you're like, traffic is going up for what keywords? There's only 3 keywords that anyone would Google for this product. There shouldn't even be investing this much in SEO. And we're honest enough to be like, this doesn't make sense.
That reminds me of one last thing. They use like overall organic traffic. Like, they don't break out branded search or anything like that. Yeah, so they're like, oh, look, we're doing all this on-site activity and organic traffic's going up. And you like dig into it and it's all like branded keywords that, it's like, what? It's just,
we got you to rank higher when people Google your brand name. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's just like crazy stuff like that. It's all the branded pages that are growing in organic traffic, and there's no non-branded search that's bringing in anyone. So you're like, what is the benefit to this? But again, I think it's just a function of SEO seems very complicated from an outsider's perspective. I remember that's why we were super hesitant to get into it. Yeah. When you think about it, it's like SEO, it's just like there's all these factors that play into it. It's like, I don't know Google's algorithm, so it just seems so complicated. And I think that enables certain agencies or consultants to take advantage of the mismatch in knowledge about the space. And so people will sell things that don't really move the needle or aren't that important. And now getting into it, we realize it's a lot simpler than it seems from the outside. You just need to focus on doing the right things and doing those well.
Yeah. As long as you're not one of those mega sites. And it's another one of those instances that you see in the business world where people take practices from enterprise size. You know, people be like, well, Apple brands in this way, so I'm going to. And you're like, there's literally like you have 3 customers. Like, why are you doing things the way Apple does? Like, what are you talking about? You know, like not to say that there's no analogies from there, but it's like, if you're taking stuff from like the SEO,
it's the VC world. It's like people look at what an Airbnb has done or a Facebook has done, and they're like, look, this company did this marketing practice, we should do it too. And it's like, yeah, but you're a bootstrap business that's making $1 million and you're trying to copy what a funded startup has done.
Yeah.
over the
Well, in
last
this
10
case,
years.
it's like if Airbnb, how many listing pages does Airbnb have? Like a bajillion. I don't even know.
No.
I can't count that high. So of course, the way they're going to do SEO isn't just like, you know, all those technical aspects and like meta tags and programmatic SEO. Like that matters a lot because one by one stuff doesn't make sense for them. If your website has 10 pages, what are you doing? Like that doesn't apply. It's a different game. You have 30 target keywords that would transform your business and transform organic as a channel for you. If you ranked #1 for all 30 of them, you can do 30 one by one, right? But you can't optimize Airbnb site one by one because they have 1 million listing pages or whatever. That's the difference. And so you need to apply it in that way. But anyway, this has been a fun conversation.
It has.
If you are listening, again, we're very curious to get feedback on this. This is not something we're for sure doing. Obviously, this conversation is, you can tell from the tone of it, we're kind of excited about this, and so we're leaning towards it. But we love to get feedback from people. So you can reply on YouTube, reply on Twitter, reply to our email list, or email Devesh or Benji at
.com. What we want to know is, do our arguments make sense, or are there holes in it that we haven't really thought of? I'd be curious.